They stopped their fight because they both started singing the Thong Song by Cisco, and I thought it was really dumb watching it out of context. The context, though, is that the apocalypse in this world happened in like 2002. I'm gonna die a lot. I'm probably not even gonna win a single match because this game's very hard. However, I watched the television show Twisted Metal, everybody. And I liked it. I thought it was actually quite good. Not amazing. It really was like a entertaining CW show as far as like the way it was produced. However, when I say entertaining, because I think there are CW shows that are entertaining, Buffy was a CW show. So don't forget that. It was WB at the time, but same shit. That's the W in CW. Because the idea of like, hey, this is the channel where we do teen stuff with, you know, pretty actors about all sorts of stuff like that. But realistically, this guy is the main character of the Twisted Metal show. Now, I'm going to show you this because I was initially turned off by the concept of a Twisted Metal TV show that looked as light and funny and wacky as that one did, because this is the era of Twisted Metal that I think I felt it really hit its stride. I think it took the best stuff that was happening in the two original David Jaffe ones, which are a friend of the side scroller show, David Jaffe. But I mean, I've never actually, I did interact with him once over Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate versus Starfield. I was on Team Baldur's Gate. He insists that Starfield is the better role-playing game. I disagree with you, David. I'm sorry, I just do. I do for a lot of reasons, even though I've not finished Starfield. So I don't really feel comfortable saying I'll debate you because I'm not prepared to counter anything that you say about Starfield, because you can pretty much make anything up. However, in the 30 hours I spent in Starfield, I did not have a great time. In the 180 hours I spent at Baldur's Gate, I was having a great time pretty much the entire time. However, the man has made some pretty good video games. Okay? Anything that David Jaffe says or does, I love Twisted Metal. I love God of War. I actually even thought Drawn to Death wasn't terrible. No, not Drawn to Death. Yeah, Drawn to Death, right? His one that was like the kid's sketchbook. It was a multiplayer shooter. It was on PlayStation. It wasn't a huge hit, but I thought it was an interesting idea and that it was all right. I thought it was a pretty cool concept.
Now I had a chance to get the answers I needed. Let's face it, who wants to spend the rest of their life as a nobody?
Okay, so you see the tone they're going for there is very Memento, very kind of gritty and like dark. So because this is the era of Twisted Metal that I connected the most with, I was not crazy about what I saw the TV show when it first was announced. However, I then watched the show and I was pretty impressed. And oh yes, 60 FPS games on PS2, by the way. There was lots of them. They mattered. They were great. I might have to kill Sweet Tooth before I do anything else. Now I have no weapons and he has way more health than I do, which means he probably did get a health pickup. See what I mean when I said this game's hard? Like, it is not an easy video game. So the Street Fighter moves that you can do in this car combat game are pretty important, because they're one of the ways that you can do serious damage on someone or even just have the time to escape. So the Twisted Metal TV show, which was a Peacock exclusive, Peacock is a streaming service we do not have in Canada. I believe it is on Paramount Plus here. I did not realize that at the time, and I forgot that we have Paramount Plus for South Park. X-Ray likes it for Star Trek and The Challenge, but I forgot we had it. So that's why I ended up buying the series on iTunes, because I'd heard enough good things about it that I'm like, even if I don't end up liking this, I feel like my dad might or something. You know, this isn't going to be a stupid purchase, and it was like $20. It wasn't ultra expensive. Especially when I thought I might have to sign up to another streaming service, and they're like, okay, I'd rather just get the one series I want to watch. But anyways, that's how I acquired it. However you acquire it, do your thing. If you want to do Paramount Plus if you're in Canada, or wherever it is streaming where you are. But I think it's worth watching, and that's kind of the big thing. It's worth your time. It's not perfect. It's not incredible. It's not even one of the best shows that I saw this year. I actually thought the show was very good. It did a very good job of creating characters where they could have been but creating actual characters with dimension where they could have been archetypal, and the show would have probably been able to hit all the notes that it wanted to hit. But I think they did a pretty good job of making John Doe, who is the character we're playing as now, though he's played by Anthony Mackie in the show, so they changed the character just a little bit. That was a meme, but yeah, it's honestly not that big a deal, and Anthony Mackie's great. He's really good at it. He's very charming, and I think that his performance and the silliness of his performance in that first clip that they showed is contextualized pretty well by what his character's motivations are and how he grew up. So he's basically a little kid who basically got abandoned, or his parents died or whatever. I mean, we don't actually know. Like what happened to his parents is something we're still trying to figure out. He has no memory though. He just woke up in a car as like a preteen, like he was 12 or something. Finds himself in this post-apocalyptic world, not a zombie apocalypse or anything. It's just this Mad Max type world in which there's a couple walled-in cities like Chicago and stuff that are protected, as well as New San Francisco, which is the place where John Doe's character is given an offer. And that kind of presents the plot. So Miss Neve Campbell is an actress in the film who gives John Doe a task to go from New San Francisco to Chicago, pick up a package, and come back. The whole season is him carrying out that mission. Each episode, though, I think does a pretty decent job of presenting a scenario in this world and just saying, okay, this episode we are dealing with this scenario. So while it is still a show that has, you know, a season-long story arc which progresses and goes places that I didn't necessarily expect, while also doing some things that I hoped that they would do, but I didn't think in a million years they would, but then they did, and I was like, oh wow, they didn't just create all of their own lore, because they don't lead this as Twisted Metal the way we know Twisted Metal. The show is basically a Twisted Metal prequel. It sets up. I'm trying to do this without doing a lot of spoilers at first. That's why I'm trying to be very careful with my words. So I'm not having a stroke. Don't worry. I am. Though that is true, but classic vigilante. If you make this a clip, I definitely bleep that, because I don't think I'm allowed to say that word really, even though, you know, I'm one of them. I use it as self-deprecating humor, damn it doesn't count. The Twisted Metal show does a very good job of presenting a world in which the actual plot of Twisted Metal can occur that will then believe it when it's happening. It's a risky move to say we're going to take this thing that people love and we're going to add a whole bunch of stuff into it that wasn't there before, and we're going to tell a story about a bunch of new original characters. Even while using one as, which could be a kind of name only thing, because they're really not similar. Like the thing of John Doe that we just saw is very much unlike the story of John Doe in the Twisted Metal television show. How they do it on the show is they present it like he's a little kid who just grew up without parents, and all he had was his car. So he almost kind of thinks of the car as his family, and as such, he takes a job in this kind of harsh world as what they call a milkman. So he's a delivery boy, essentially. So on the course of the journey, John Doe runs into a woman who does not speak, who is called Quiet in the show. So, I mean, there's that, I think, very obvious Metal Gear reference, especially in a show that's based on a video game. It's like, they can't be like, no, you totally just thought of this original. It's like, no, come on. You're going to reference Metal Gear, at least say you're referencing Metal Gear. Let me feel that my childhood meant something. Yeah, there's a kill for me. So it runs into Quiet, who's this woman who is on the run with her brother, and they're basically trying to jack his car, or not necessarily jack the car, but take his supplies. He runs them off, and she gives him the finger, but you notice that also her middle finger is cut off. So she kind of does this. And yeah, it's kind of a charming little interaction. And the woman who plays it is Stephanie Beatriz. She's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's the tough cop lady, and I think that she plays this role very, very well, as I think that Rosa is her character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I think she's great as Rosa, and I think she's very good in this show as well. And especially, I think her and Anthony Mackie have wonderful chemistry together. Like, they are a really good on-screen couple, I think. I did not have any complaints about the interactions of those two. Something happens which leads Quiet and John Doe to end up together, with other things occurring to the people around them, and she ends up on this trip with them. They also encounter Outlaw, who is played by Thomas Hayden Church, very good actor. He's the one who played Sandman in he played Sandman in Spider-Man 3, as well as he was on a show called Wings, where he was the really funny mechanic dude, like airplane mechanic guy. And what else was Thomas Hayden Church in? He was in that movie Sideways, wasn't crazy about Sideways, but he's good at it. He's a good actor, though, and he is hamming this role up a lot. But even this role, his role is outlaw, or as we can assume, he's the outlaw paradigm for this version of Twisted Metal. Is actually really solid. Like it's interesting because it's not just he's cop man and now he's on the run and he has this police force. It's kind of that, but in a way where it's clear he is not the most confident dude in the world. And he was always pissed off about the fact that people were not treating him like a real police officer when he was one. He's also kind of a psycho. And he makes for a very good villain. So she has a vendetta against Outlaw. Sweet Tooth comes into the picture. That is played by Samoa Joe. The wrestler is his body, and his voice is Will Arnett from Arrested Development. Very different shows. And he's also the voice of Lego Batman. So picture that voice coming out of Sweet Tooth. Sweet Tooth's very funny, and even the really cringe thing that happened in that initial scene they released is contextualized because it's the trailer I'm talking about. It's a fight between John Doe and Sweet Tooth in a casino where they stopped their fight because they both start singing the Thong Song by Cisco, and I thought it was really dumb watching it out of context. The context, though, is that the apocalypse in this world happened in like 2002. Songs like Thong Song were the big songs that happened when the world ended, so like people do know it and can't sing them, and all the references are from like the 90s and early 2000s because that's when the world ended in this one. So I always think that anytime, even when you're doing a post-apocalypse, making it a period piece, making it a post-apocalyptic world in the future, but also it's a period piece. The way Fallout is, because Fallout is essentially the apocalypse if it happened in the 1960s version of the future, you know? So, and that's the premise, and I think Fallout carves out its own style in a nice way because of that. And hey, you know, let's hope the Amazon Fallout show is good. I have nothing but respect for Walton Goggins. He's a great actor, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does as a mutant. Because, you know, he's a cool guy, and I want the show to be good. Even if Amazon has mixed track record with stuff, but so does Netflix, though. And I think Amazon, you know, I'm watching Reacher right now. Reacher's quite good. I like it. Sherlock Holmes, but he's an unstoppable badass in a fist fight. Is probably the best way I can describe Reacher. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not all Rings of Power on Amazon. That's all I'm saying. I thought Invincible was quite good as well. The Boys, hit or miss. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes not so crazy. But you know, it's not 100% bad all the time. I'll say that. Per The Boys, it's sometimes kind of bad though. And that I wish that was not the case because I like the comic. Garth Ennis's The Boys is really good. It's written by an Irishman. Anyway, so once they get on the road together, they encounter a whole bunch of different characters. Some things that seem like indirect references to characters from the game, and others who just flat out are characters from the game, so they don't forget what they're adapting, which I like. I'll veer into some spoilers that may be the spoilers you need to hear to make you want to watch the show. So if you don't think you're ever going to watch the show based on what I've said so far, listen to the spoilers. But if you do, then probably cut it. Like if I've already sold you on giving it a shot. And again, I'm not telling you it's the best show in the world. It's just like a solid kind of video game adaptation action show. Car combat action show with some pretty good characters and some heart. There's character stories that happen in this show that do not entirely suck. And I think for a show that I'm at all comparing to anything from CW, it's worth noting, you know? It's not nothing. Not everything, but it's definitely not nothing. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1 for Twisted Metal Season 1. So when they get to Chicago, the person they are picking up a package from is a man named Calypso, who, if you saw that intro video for, what's his name, for John Doe there, Roadkill, that we saw at the beginning of this stream here, this stream of Twisted Metal Black that I'm doing. Like I haven't been playing this all stream. Been streaming for like 5 hours. You get the package from Calypso, who's the guy who runs the Twisted Metal tournament in the games and is the one who offers people a wish in exchange for winning the Twisted Metal tournament. And I think that it was pretty cool to have them introduce Calypso at all. But then you get the package from Calypso. They make a joke about the fact that he's talking through a speaker and that you can't see his face. Probably because maybe he's not cast yet for season 2. Spoiler alert, you don't see Calypso. I already did the spoiler alert though, so Can't complain. I thought they were gonna kind of subvert expectations, just be like, oh, this is the only time you ever hear from Calypso. He's just the guy that they pick up the package from. And it seems like he might be a fraud, and that the whole, hello, my name is Calypso thing happening over a loudspeaker is just a joke.
Where's my hat?
And it's right here. Oh, but I have no help. I love you, honey.
Bye.
I gave Extra Girl her headband back, but I'm now in red health because I got hit by something. But yeah, I thought they were gonna subvert expectations, just have Calypso be kind of a meme on the show that he should be the primary antagonist of. And I sort of thought they were doing that to give Nev Campbell more to do, and to have her be the Calypso, because she's the one that's giving the mission and is being sort of secretive about what her intentions are, or what the package is, or why she wants it. But no, Calypso is in the show, and what I think is really kind of nice about the way they end it is they just end it by saying, yeah, this guy Calypso is offering people a wish if they win his Twisted Metal tournament. It's going to be the best car combat drivers in the world fighting for one wish. Twisted Metal, the show, I think does a pretty good job of being very entertaining and having a lot of heart, while not going out of its way to be too over the top. Like, hey, if you're a certain type of person, you can't watch this without getting offended in any stretch. It's just like, it's not going out of its way to be, you know, messagey. And I thought that was pretty cool about it. There's some stuff in it that I'm sure will piss a few people off, but I didn't find it to be distracting at all. And most of it is put within the context of the world that they're in, as well as the early 2000s. So it's kind of like everyone has an early 2000s view of everything, and early 2000s kind of humor. So I think that helps the show feel a little less dated. Again, sort of going back to what I was talking about, the idea of a post-apocalyptic period piece, that it doesn't seem like constant current day writing. It seems like they're trying to make a story that, what if 2002 was the last thing that happened in civilization and it was all just apocalypse out, that there was no culture between those two things, or no way to share culture. I thought it was quite good, and that you should probably watch it. Twisted Metal on the old Peacock. Lies of Peacock. Coming to your D this year.
And it exalted too, okay.
I've got a thing for that!
We have to have the graphics cranked up. You're looking at our cities, baby. I'm like, yeah, but can I turn them down a little so that this game doesn't run like my PS5 is dying?
Yeah, I will leave you in peace is definitely a better thing to say than legendary gloves, son!
Felling to the blade of Pinocchio, son of Geppetto. Real boy. Also mouse.
Extra Girl sometimes does joke that she gave birth to the puppies. At least I think it's a joke.
Yeah! Oh my god, Extra Girl did it!